Today we're talking about the Atlantic Division, all their offseason moves, and how I believe they'll perform in this next coming season. Let's go. First, we're going to start with the Celtics, and their biggest thing is obviously losing Jason Tatum to his Achilles injury, but the Celtics literally posted a video of him in the gym putting up shots with nothing on his leg or anything. So I don't know how he healed his Achilles that quickly, but he might actually come back for next season, and not just like end of the season. He might come back around just after All-Star break. I see that as the earliest, but I don't know. Maybe he's Wolverine, and he just come back immediately. We'll have to see how that goes. Let's talk about their departures. They traded away Drew Holiday, and the biggest part of that was the second apron. The second apron stopped them from re-signing him because they didn't want to be paying that extra tax on a guy when they don't know if they're going to be making another finals run, which I completely understand. And they also trade away Tingus Pingus to Atlanta just to get off the money and also give their younger guys some more minutes. They bring in Chris Boucher, who might actually be getting some minutes from Porzingis, and Anthony Simons in that trade with Drew Holiday, which I actually believe is amazing for them because he's a younger guy and a guard too. So I believe that he can grow with this new team since they have an extra year buffer because they're not fighting for a championship this year. And every year that you give them to grow better, holy, this team's going to get even more amazing somehow. The thing with the Celtics is that they are so deep just because they've made smart trades and made good draft picks that the team, even though they've had to trade away some of their key pieces, they're still a good team. And now I know on this ranking, I have a lot of teams as playoff teams, even though some of them have to be play-in technically. I could see any of these teams being a full playoff team hitting 6th seed at least, and I see the Celtics doing that. They still have Jaylen Brown, Payton Pritchard, Jarrett White, and the fact that they brought Anthony Simons in, he's a young guy that can score you 25 every once in a while. So I definitely see them winning quite a few games and making 6th seed at least. If you're wondering how I ranked some of these teams before, they're all in previous videos if you want to go check those out. For the Celtics goal, it all depends on how quickly Jason Tatum comes back. If he comes back just after All-Star break, I think he'd be fighting for another championship. You have a great team still. You have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown as your two heads. They could make it to the finals again and beat a West team. But their realistic goal with Tatum and the Achilles injury, I would say, is second round. Give your guys more playoff experience and let them grow. Because then the year after that, when everyone is fully healthy, you run for the finals and championship again. The Nets are kind of hilarious. Now, they had 5 picks in this draft. They used the top 3 to all get point guards and the last 2 to get power forwards. Especially with re-signing Cam Thomas and trading for Michael Porter Jr., how do you draft 3 point guards? The thing is, you almost kind of need to and just make them all playmakers since these 2 guys need the ball to shoot. Or not necessarily need, but will not be passing the ball ever. So if those rookies want like playtime and to have the ball in their hands ever, they better become really good defensive minded playmaking guards and not care about points. I could see most of them scoring 5 points max. They bring in Terrence Mann, who's okay. Like he can definitely play, but since you have so many rookies, I'd rather be playing some of the rookies over Terrence Mann right now. Like, I'd rather play Igor Dedman as a starter instead of Terrence Mann, have him coming off bench. But we'll have to see what they decide to do, and especially what rookie is playing well in the moment. D'Angelo Russell and Cam Johnson, losing those 2 kind of cements the Nets as a lottery team. I think it's impossible for the Nets themselves to make playoffs, and I don't even think they want to. Unless they want to get their rookies immediate playoff experience, which I just don't think is the right thing to do, because you just give your rookies some years to grow, or at least just 1 year to grow, get another high draft pick, maybe draft anyone other than a guard, and the team should be good. Since they have 5 rookies, I see this team playing pretty well in the future. This next season is going to be rough. It's going to be a lot of figuring out what people can and will do. But these next few years, the Nets will be on the up. So they have to be at least decent. Their goal for this year is definitely just give their young guys minutes and let them progress into the players that they are. and trust that your scouting team has done the right choice, but we'll have to see how it comes out next year. The Knicks are a genuine powerhouse in the East. They bring back Mikal Bridges, but they kind of need to because they gave up so much to trade for him. But you bring him back on a 4-year deal. You bring in Malcolm Brogdon, a decent guard. You bring Jordan Clarkson, a scoring guard. Yabusele, who's a decent young guy. You only lose Precious Achiuwa, which honestly doesn't hurt very much since you have Cat, you have Yabusele who can run some of the minutes that Precious Achiuwa was running. The fact that their team has Jalen Brunson, one of the clutchest players in the league. They have Karl Anthony Towns, the best shooting big man in the league, and a bunch of guys around them, especially Josh Hart, who I would say is one of the greatest role players in the league right now, if not the greatest. Every team would love a Josh Hart, and for that reason, they have to be real contenders. They have built a team that until their core moves or changes at all, I can see them fighting for the championship every single year. So their goal is easily win the championship. At minimum, you have to make conference finals, or it was a disappointing season. Obviously, if you make conference finals but then lose, it was still kind of disappointing because you didn't make finals at least, but there are strong teams in the East at the very top, and if you match up against one of them, it's hard to beat them. But for the Knicks, especially after last year of having such a strong team, they have to win the championship. The Toronto Raptors are a weird case. You have Scotty Barnes, who's a great young guy. You re-sign Jakob Poeltl for 4 years. He's a great center. I love him. He can't shoot great, but he's a smart player. So having him on the court still helps no matter what. But in general, I don't see this team really making a playoff run, or at most a deep playoff run. Since you have Scotty Barnes, you have Jakob Poeltl, RJ Barrett, and then Brandon Ingram, who you're paying $38 million a year, who has a decent chance to be injured for at least a third of the season. Like, it's hard to put faith in Brandon Ingram when there have been some years recently that he's been injured for quite a bit of it. So, that being the fact, I don't see them being ahead of a lot of East teams, but I could see them sneaking into a play-in spot. I do see them behind the Hornets in the play-in spot. It's just a weird dynamic they have right now because no one's really the leader of the team, and they are so young that they don't really have a clear motive of where they're going. Obviously, your goal is to make playoffs and get playoff experience because there's no way you're winning or even making it to the finals. You do have to believe that the Raptors have a plan with this team. And if RJ goes off this season, if Scotty goes off this season, if Jakob Poeltl goes off this season, they could be a playoff team. I just don't trust that they can play as well altogether better than a lot of other teams in the East. So for that reason, they have to be play-in, I think, max. Their goal, easily make playoffs. If that means be play-in and then win in the play-in, or just making playoffs flat out, then that's what they have to do. Their floor is definitely just miss playoffs and then get a good draft pick, which I think either one of those is still decent for them just because they're still so young. So I can still rely on them to have a good future in a few years. I did want to end the East off with the Sixers because they're such an interesting case. You bring in Eric Gordon, a good veteran guard / forward that can hit the shots you need him to hit when it counts. You bring in big booty Kyle Lowry, and good lord, you can take me to dinner. Now, the fact that you bring in Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon is you're not really bringing in a lot of big men, especially since recently we found out that the Sixers don't know when Joel Embiid will come back. They don't understand his timetable since he goes through so many injuries. So you don't want to push him to come back too soon so he just gets injured again, but you want to push him to come back so you guys can actually play well, since he is supposed to be your star player. But since you don't know when he's going to come back, Tyrese Maxey has to lead this team. And I believe he can. He's a damn great player. So this team, I think this year, will officially become Tyrese Maxey's team. I love that for him. Tyrese Maxey has shown that he is an all-star caliber player, but he still does need help on the team. You have old Andre Drummond off bench, who I'm assuming will be their starting center, unless they have someone else I'm just not thinking of. Jared McCain hurt his thumb recently, so I don't know if he's going to be out for a few games early on, or if he's playing right away if it wasn't that bad, because the season starts in about 20 days. You do draft VJ Elchcom, who is projected as a really good player. I am excited to see how he plays with the team, but he is also a guard. So they have a lot of guard play, but not many forwards or big men. So that is scary, especially when Joel does come back. They don't have a lot of big men to rely on when he does come back, so he's going to have to play a lot more minutes, which just means another injury is bound to happen. I don't trust Joel. If he's healthy, he can be an MVP caliber player, but he's injured so often, he hurts the team. I'm assuming Philly wants to find a trade for him, but if I'm any other team in the league, I'm not trading MVP trade packages for him, since I don't know if he's going to be playing. And then last thing about them is Paul George. Now, he fell off a cliff last year, and I said with Damian Lillard, you don't just fall off a cliff, but it wasn't that he just fell off a cliff that one year. It's that he's been falling since 2020. He's been getting worse and worse every single year. We know for a fact Paul George plays bad in the playoffs. So if they do make the playoffs and do want to make a run, I can't rely on him. I can rely on Tyrese Maxey. I would like to hope that I can rely on Jared McCain, but we'll have to see how he plays. VJ Edgecombe's still super new. And then when Joel even comes back, he also flops in the playoffs. He's never been out of the second round. So I don't know how I can trust this team to get out of the second round if they do make it. But with all that said, I still do see them as a play-in team, maybe even 10th seed, just because I don't see Tyrese Maxey laying down and just letting this year be a flop. I see him fighting for his life, trying to keep the team alive. We'll have to see how it goes. We'll have to see how many games everyone on this team actually plays, because there's so many injury concerns. Joel Embiid, Paul George, Jared McCain, like those are 3 of your 4 top guys, and you can't trust them to stay healthy throughout the season. So for that reason, they have to be lowest of play-in. They could possibly miss the playoffs again. Thank you so much for watching. That is all the East teams. If you missed any of them, check out the other videos. Next video, we're going to be starting on the West. See you there.